everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Chioma Moma and I love to support working parents as we talk about how we can achieve all our goals while raising amazing children. Now, if you have children who are above the age of 14, 15, 16, then there's something that you have on your mind. What is it? They want to start driving, and what can I do? How can I help? It can be scary, it can be daunting, but there's some things that can really help us as our children go through this rite of passage, so to speak. For my children, I have an 18-year-old. I remember when he said he wanted to start driving, I was a bit, there was a bit of anxiety. But the truth is that it's something that must happen, and it even helps you as a family when you have more people who are able to drive and run errands and do the like, and it helps them become more independent, because when they go to university, wherever they are, they might need to be mobile. So these are some things you can do as your children take that next step of learning how to drive, how you, a parent, can help support them. Number one, talk to them. Sit them down and help them through the process. Educate them on what they need to know. Let them be able to be open enough to you to understand what it is, what they need to avoid when they're driving, so that they're not going around sneaking behind your back to steal the car or whatever. Let them understand the dangers of driving under the influence, especially with young people these days. And even when we were young, and even now, at my age, I'm in my 40s, we still have a lot of people driving under the influence of drugs or alcohol. I've heard someone say that when she drives, with alcohol, it helps her become, she's more careful, which I don't think is possible. But the fact is, it is dangerous to drive under the influence of alcohol or drugs. So educate them, talk to them, have a nice, friendly conversation with your child and tell them the dangers of driving under the influence of alcohol and the dangers of driving when they're not supposed to drive. For instance, when they don't have their license or any of those things because they're breaking the law. The second thing I think is really important, take them to driving school. Yes, it's good for you to instruct them yourselves, but driving school, you have people who are actually trained to instruct people on how to drive. They will know all the rules and regulations. They will know the things that need to be avoided. They will know everything that that they need to know regarding driving. And in Nigeria, it will help them get their learner's permits and help them get their driver's license as well. So please educate your children and take them to a proper driving school. If you can teach them yourself, my father taught me to a great extent, and he was very patient, then go ahead. But I will always recommend taking them to a driving school. 3, maintain your cool. Try and be calm when you're correcting your child when they are driving. It's easy for you to say, oh my goodness, what are you doing? Can't you see what you're doing? Turn right, slow down. And when you're not cool, when you're not calm, they also get stressed out and they panic and they could make mistakes, which would also lead to an accident, which you're trying to avoid, right? So please be calm with them when you're driving. Try not to be too tense or too anxious, because you'll pass on those feelings to your child as they are driving. Okay, so be very careful and try not to be too frantic. It's not easy. Talking from experience, I know how much how hard it was for me, but you need to be cool. Another thing you need to do when your child is learning how to drive, take them to a safe neighborhood, somewhere really easy. Avoid estates where there are lots of children walking around or children playing around, so that there's no one gets into harm's way. Look for a quiet area. Here in Abuja, around the embassies used to be a very nice quiet area, especially on weekends, to learn how to drive. I think it's still like that to a larger extent. Look for somewhere quiet where they will have not too much activity from cars or from pedestrians. That way they can make mistakes safely. The other thing that they need to do is practice. Practice makes perfect. Even if you've been driving for decades like me, you need to keep on practicing to be able to drive properly. So please, when your child is learning how to drive, encourage them to practice, and also practice with them. Stay in the car with them so you can actually assess them and see how well they're doing. That way, when they're on the road, your heart is not in your mouth. Another thing that's really important is putting a tracking device in your child's car. If you're giving them a car, fantastic, good for you, good for them, but they need to be safe and they need to be secure. Not only should your child have a tracker in the car, but every car in your household, if possible, should also have a tracker. It's good for security. So when anything happens, if for instance somebody's phone goes dead or anything, you can keep track of your child and of the car and know where they are. Another thing that's really important is that your child should also always go out with a fully charged phone. Wherever he is in the world, if he or she is driving, they should be able to reach someone, or someone should be able to reach them. Communication is important. There could be a flat tire, anything could happen. They need to have their phone fully charged. They should not go out without their phone or with a flat battery, so they can reach you at any time. Still talking about how you can talk to them about the dangers of driving. Also talk to them about the dangers of driving or being driven by someone who is under the influence of drugs or alcohol. Because many times they might go out when you're not there, go to parties, and the person who is driving has had a little too much to drink. So tell them, look, if you're not comfortable, you've seen the person driving has had, he's drunk or he's tipsy or whatever, feel free to call me to come and pick you. Feel free to use a cab, Uber, Bolt, or whatever to get to your destination safely. We want to make sure our children are free from danger. It's very, very, very important that they are safe while they're driving. Another thing that's really important is that making sure they're the right age to drive. It is not a sign of affluence to give your child who is 14 or 15 a car to drive. Okay, even if you can afford to do so. Children, their brains are still developing, and they make a lot of risky choices and risky, they're high risks when they're that age. So you need to make sure their brains are still developing. In fact, children's brains develop till they're like 21. Okay, and the part of the brain that is responsible for being safe is still developing up to that age. So please, please, please do not give your underage children cars to drive. It is just not the safe thing to do. So those are a few of my favorite tips as your children take on this new phase of life. I wish you well. I know it's not easy, but hey, it's great. Now you have someone else to send to the market, okay? So it's good news as well. Thank you. And if you have any tips to share about your own driving experience when you started driving, or how you helped your own teenager when they started driving, please share in the comments. And don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. See you later. Bye.